Good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Steve Aldana, the CEO of WellSteps. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar this month, 6 Ways Leaders Can Support Employee Wellness, presented by Dr. Troy Adams. Our webinars are an hour long. All of the slides and all of the materials that will be presented in the webinar are available for download for free at the webinars link at wellsteps.com. Inevitably, about half of you are going to ask about the slides and the presentation, and the webinars link at WellSteps. Everything that Dr. Adams will be talking about today is there. They're already there posted now, and you can have those slides. It's the webinars link at wellsteps.com. All of you have a control panel on the right side of your screen, and in the bottom right-hand corner of that control panel, you can ask questions. I will be answering questions today and looking at the questions for Dr. Adams, and we also have Ryan Isaacson, our Director of Operations, who will also be going through questions. We encourage you to make this as interactive as possible and ask away about any part of this presentation you'd like, and we'll try to get to as many of those questions as we can. All of your microphones and telephones have been muted, so you won't be able to speak, but anytime feel free to ask questions through the questions function tool. There's about 500 people registered for the webinar today, just about 498 as of last night, which tells me there's considerable interest in this topic. We've known that leadership support is key to having any success in any wellness effort. So Dr. Troy Adams and I usually brainstorm about what these topics are, and we think this is a pretty vital topic to improving what you're doing in your programs, and WellSteps goes to great lengths, and Troy will show you that, to really make leadership really shine forth. So joining us this morning, Dr. Troy Adams got his PhD from University of Texas at Austin, worked in academia for a lot of years, published a lot of papers, is really behind a lot of the science that drives what we do, and now he's the Chief Operations Officer at WellSteps. He's been involved with us since the beginning. He's my partner in crime in all of this. Very few people know more how to do this better than Dr. Troy Adams. So with that, and without any further ado, Troy, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Steve. I appreciate very much all of you being with us here today. And like Steve said, we're going to talk about leadership support. And we've talked about it a lot of times before. In fact, I noticed on our recent webinar, or if you scroll down on our webinars page to archives, that's where you'll find the slides and all the other materials I'm going to be mentioning today. You'll find that we've talked about leadership support more than once. In fact, most recently we talked about it in May of 2013. And why would we do that? Steve and I have both discussed leader support in our presentations that we do around the country and training seminars, et cetera, and so on. So why? Well, because as Steve mentioned, leadership support is the ultimate wellness trump card. There is no question about it. But that said, this is a really, really hard topic. How do you get a leader? It's like herding cats. How do you get a leader to decide that they want to support wellness? Well, I can speak for myself. In my presentations, I have nearly always tried to take the approach that my role as a presenter was to explain and teach, or maybe provide tools so that somebody on the inside, like maybe a wellness professional or a broker, could take those tools or those resources and could make a strong business case for wellness to senior leaders. Right? But here's the deal. My thinking has always been doing it that way, that because leader personalities and organizational cultures are so darn complex, that if we could just help empower insiders to make a business case, that we wouldn't have a better chance to influence outcome. But I have to say that my thinking has changed a little bit. So I do think that providing great tools still has a lot of value, and we're going to continue doing it at WellSteps because there are some leaders out there who just don't get it. We're going to talk about one in just a minute. They don't get that wellness is a business strategy, and hope of hopes, maybe our tools will help them. We're committed to continue to provide free tools, which you see on our webpage. There are many leaders out there who do get it. But they may not know how to support wellness. So my thinking has shifted a little bit from providing tools and resources to help others make a business case to, as we drill down, trying to figure out ways to make it easy, how to make it easy for leaders to lend support. And there's a key change in thinking there. Making it easy for leaders to support wellness is the purpose of this webinar today, because you get more leader support when you make it easy for leaders to give support rather than trying to convince them that they should. I'm going to read that again. You get more leader support when you make it easy for them to give support rather than trying to convince them that they should. When you try to convince a leader to do something that maybe wasn't their idea, you know where it goes from there. There's a lot of ego. It's a little bit like dragging a horse to water, but you can't force a horse to drink. So I'm going to say one more time, I think that leadership support is perhaps the key ingredient to an effective wellness program. Now, let me just spell out a scenario here before we dive in. What would you do? I'm going to ask you to think about what you would do to answer this question I just got by email maybe 30 minutes ago. This is such a good question. I scrambled and rallied to include this question in the webinar right here at the beginning. This broker emailed me and said he or she works with a police department that has healthy employees. Police officers and those who work in administrative support roles they're relatively healthy. So as a result, the leader refuses to participate in wellness program. Now, there may be some other reasons. Police are very private. I know this. I've got several good friends who are police officers. They don't want to share information. They don't want you to. One of my friends who has 4 children, he does not wear a wedding ring. He doesn't want anyone he interacts with ever to know he's married for safety reasons, etc., and so on. They're very private. So the problem is that the refusal by this leader to participate sends a poor message to other departments in this municipality. And as a result, the chief is such a strong leader that it impacts participation. It pulls it down. So the question this broker asked was, how can I get this leader to take a leadership role? So think about that as we proceed on and talk a little bit about leadership support. How can we get this leader to take on a leadership role? So what I want to show you is some evidence about wellness participation. A couple of years ago, WellSteps did a project with Kaiser Permanente. What we did is we provided our small business solution to a number of their customers. And of course, we did an evaluation. When we looked at the outcomes, we grouped companies into weak, moderate, or strong leadership support. You can see that represented here. So when we looked at participation and behavior change across levels of support, the results were pretty darn clear. Companies with strong leadership support had higher participation and better outcomes, and it wasn't even close. We love to show this because this illustrates the impact that leadership support can have on these key outcomes, both participation and behavior change. So before we launch in, high-performing wellness programs have the support of a visionary leader. I don't know of a wellness program anywhere that's considered high-performing that doesn't have a visionary leader. It's key. So that said, here are the objectives for this webinar today. Want to talk to you about some leader strategies to encourage employee participation and achievement. Now, my hope is that you can apply some of these strategies in your own situation. I'm going to go back to the point I made earlier. There is immense complexity across leader personalities and organizational cultures. So I hope the principles I share will be helpful as you try to apply those one or two of these ideas into your own situation. Second, we're going to talk about how to learn how wellness coordinators have made it easy for leaders to offer support. Here's the deal. There are some coordinators, wellness coordinators out there who are so dang creative. They're amazingly creative. They're doing some great things. I get emails from them. My employees are WellSteps guides. They email me great ideas. We hear about these ideas all the time. So if you're on the webinar today and you're a coordinator and you happen to have some great leader support, tell us why you have leadership. Share with us. Let us know. We're happy to share that information back out in this webinar. Again, you can use the GoToWebinar control panel. There's a question function. Be brief in your suggestions, but we would love to share those. So third objective is we'd like to provide access to tools and resources to help grow your leadership support. And I've shared many of these, as Steve mentioned, on our webinars page. So let me set context before we launch in. For any of my friends on the webinar today who may have doubts about whether a wellness program is the right approach, I've got a few of those in the industry who think otherwise. You might be wondering, is it a good idea or a bad idea to help workers be healthy? You should ask yourself that question. Is it a good idea or a bad idea to help workers be healthy? I don't know. I have an opinion on this. You might wonder then, first of all, why are workers unhealthy? I've had some issues with these slides. I'm not really sure what's going on, but it's much prettier when I created it. The CDC says chronic disease is responsible for 75% it drives 75% of healthcare costs and poor health. As we know, the main driver of chronic disease is ultimately unhealthy behavior. And we've shared this slide a lot. So for example, in the Nurses Health Study, one of the longest, a 40-year-old study with nearly 250,000 nurses, we know that these big four chronic diseases, stroke, cancers, heart disease, and diabetes, are attributable to lifestyle behaviors, things that can be changed by an employee. 70 to 91% of these chronic diseases are attributable to chronic diseases. So poor lifestyle causes chronic disease, and healthy lifestyle reduces chronic disease. This is an 8-year study, an international study, where they looked at people that did four things. They had a healthy weight, they ate healthy, they exercised, and they did not smoke. Those who did all four things were 36 to 91% less likely to have these four chronic diseases. That's pretty huge. So put those two things together. Poor lifestyle causes chronic disease, and healthy lifestyle reduces it. I'd say there's your evidence. It's a good idea to help workers be healthy. So I'll ask again, is it a good idea or bad idea to help workers be healthier? I will say a worker is the one company asset that makes decisions about the use or investment of all other assets. Think about how much is riding on the health and clear thinking of the human assets that we employ. So I happen to think that investing in worker health should be way, way up there in terms of business priorities. So today, I would like to share with you 6 ways, 6 categories to help leaders better support wellness. These are all illustrated on an infographic, which we've also shared with you. So number one, you want to explain why wellness is important. Now this strategy, all of these strategies are all about making it easy for leaders to explain wellness. Remember that case study I shared with you at the beginning of this webinar. So like I mentioned our WellSteps guides. We have some amazing, organized, and efficient account managers that we call WellSteps guides. I also mentioned that our guides work with some clever and creative wellness coordinators and committee. Together, they have come up with some great strategies. So I want to explain to you some of these strategies, how they have helped make it easy for leaders to explain to their constituents why wellness is important. And they do that by issuing a call to action. They encourage employees to participate in wellness activities, encourage departments to complete as appropriate, and they encourage the company to meet specific wellness goals. Here's one way that they've done that. So you may think this is passe, but it is a fact that emails from leaders are way more likely to get read. When they come directly from a leader, people are going to open up and read those emails. So what we do at WellSteps, we provide pre-written CEO messages for our customers to use in emails and other places, for example, in our WellSteps Program Center. And these are especially helpful early on in the program when you're trying to set tone, when you're trying to build momentum, et cetera, and so forth. Now, some of our customers use them as they are, some edit them, a few others write their own messages. Bottom line, it doesn't really matter. If a written leader support is part of the plan, and we have learned it is best to make it easy as possible. You can do one of two things. You could say, hey, we need a written letter, a message of support from your leader. It's going to get buried on the desk. Or you can say, we need a written support from your leader, and here are two or three examples. Can you get one of these approved? And bada boom, it's a lot easier. And then we all we have to do is get somebody to send the email from the leader's account, and boom, we've got leader support. I will say also, while I'm on this topic about writing, some leaders have actually gone a little bit further by influencing company mission, so that wellness is emphasized or health is emphasized in the company mission. That's a huge deal as well. Here's another way some leaders have made wellness important. Now, our guides always encourage wellness committee members to participate in program kickoff meetings. And we usually invite them actually twice. We invite them, then we remind them. Sometimes leaders attend and sometimes they don't. We often do these meetings via webinar. Well, the wellness committees of two of our customers recently somehow managed to convince their respective leaders to participate in a kickoff meeting. The first leader I was on this meeting was hilarious. It was funny. By the time I was laughing, by the time he was done, I was ready to sign up. Man, where can I participate? It was awesome. This leader left. Everyone who attended that meeting, you could just feel it with a good, positive vibe about the whole program. So we were not surprised when we learned that early participation was literally through the roof. It was incredible. And I attribute a lot of that to the vibe created by the senior leader. Well, the second leader was different. The other leader wasn't funny at all. But what he did instead is he explained in a very heartfelt way about why wellness is important to him personally. And I won't share any of that, but it was powerful. He also explained why they were doing wellness as an organization. He had a personal appeal. Both of those leaders were rock stars. Oh my goodness. You could feel that their employees bought in. One was funny, one was very heartfelt. The results showed leadership support in both cases. I know some of you are sitting there thinking, our leader would never do that. That's why I'm presenting multiple ideas. Hopefully, one or two of the principles that I share today will actually be usable by you. So here's another one. We were once asked to set up a live meeting for a customer, and this is the best example I've ever seen of leadership support. You see the leader right there making a pledge. So what happened in this live meeting? Here's the last example of explaining to employees why wellness is important. Because when employees have a clear idea and a clear vision of why we're doing this in the first place, they're more likely to engage. And we'll get to how the leader can further set an example here in just a bit. But this leader stood up in front of a company meeting and shared emotionally with feelings about the premature death of a colleague who had died due to a heart attack. A woman who was in her early 50s died due to a heart attack. Then he shared some of his own biometric values. Now, I don't necessarily advocate that, but he stood up and he said, my blood pressure is this. My blood glucose is this. My cholesterol is this. And you know what? These numbers are too high. He was thumping the pulpit. And I'm going to have problems if I don't change. And he pledged to take action. He said, I need you. Employees, I need you. I ask for your help and support. Let's do this together. And boy, by the time he was done, he had lit a fuse. People would have jumped up and run through a wall. It was really, really powerful. It was the most brilliant example of leadership support that I've ever seen. So hopefully, one of these three examples, a live meeting, maybe a meeting by webinar, or even just email communication, we can make it easy for leaders to do one of these three things. We get leadership support right out the gate. The second is to create a wellness committee. This is great because all the leader has to do is say, so let it be written, so let it be done. Let's have a wellness committee. So strategy 2, leader creates a wellness committee. Those who have wellness interests, and I'm talking to you brokers and consultants, you can make it easy for the leader by suggesting a wellness committee. Hey, why don't we have a wellness committee? You can even suggest wellness committee composition. Now, you may be thinking, I don't know who should be on a wellness committee. I don't know how big a committee should be. Well, we've answered some of those questions for you. We've tried to make it easy for you. On the WellSteps webinars page, under archives, go down to this webinar topic. I posted some resources on our webinars page, including how to form a wellness committee, who should be on it. By rule of thumb, it should be about 8 to 12 people. There should be diverse points of view represented, and boom, there you have a wellness committee. And all you have to do is maybe rotate people off every couple of years, and you've got yourself a great committee. So what should a wellness committee do? That's a great question. Wellness committee has to have tasks. Otherwise, nothing will. They'll sit in a room and it'll be just another meeting on the schedule. So I think invitation to serve on a wellness committee should come with a call to action. Should come with an invitation. And here are some wellness committee tasks. 3 common tasks that could be done over an entire year. 1, create healthy catering options. I'll explain to you how you can do that. Create healthy vending options. I've provided resources and tools to help you do that. And how to become a smoke-free campus. We'll talk about that in just a second here. So creating a wellness committee and tasking them to impact catering. Easy. It's easy. All the committee has to do is go around to their constituents, or maybe the people who hold meetings that are catered in your organization. This could take a long time, or could be done really quickly depending on the size of the organization. So you got a list of favorite catering vendors. Then from those vendors, you get their menus. You hire a dietitian, pay the dietitian, I don't know, $100. I don't know how long it takes. Dietitian reviews the menus, makes recommendations of choices, food choices off of each menu, and or modifications to some menu items. You know, when you order this, maybe instead of getting the chips and the cookie, get the apple, and et cetera and so on. You get the idea. So you've got several different menus from several different vendors that can be ordered. They're all on a list. Anytime there is a catering need, someone has a list of healthy choices from a variety of different catering vendors, and boom, that wellness committee has impacted the health of all the employees who participate in catered meals, because we know that the food coming in is healthy. That's the job of a wellness committee. Super, super easy. This one could, depending on the size of the organization, you could have this one done in a month, less than a month, one meeting. What other ideas are there? What about healthy vending? Well, the truth is, I've been to some of your work sites, and this is what your vending machines look like. Some of you are going, "Hey, I like those Almond Joys." Yeah, you've seen these machines. This is how they look. And this is healthy vending. You maybe can't see it so closely, but there's some veggie choices, there's some fruit choices, there's some other things that are a little bit healthier, lower in fat and so forth. There are so many more resources now for healthy vending than there were just a few years ago. So a committee could start and could make it easy for the leader by changing to healthy beverages. Say, we're not going to try to tackle the food. Let's just work on the beverages. The truth is, boy, if you could get sugary beverages out of the vending machines, you'd be making a huge step, switching to fruit juices and water. Committee could just ask for price differentials, such as the healthier items. There may be no change in composition. Maybe there's a mix of healthy and unhealthy, but the healthy items are really cheap. Just depends on the budget and interests and motivations of the senior leader in the committee. I put a toolkit. There are a number of toolkits out there. The one that I liked the best was from the city of Chicago. I edited a little bit, took out a couple of pages, and I posted the toolkit on this webinar with everything needed to help a committee implement healthy vending, including the stickers that go on food. It's all there. All you got to do is download it and use it. Make things easy. Try to make things easy. All right. What else can a committee do? What about healthy smoking policy, smoke-free campus? I know of one committee. It took them. I don't mean to discourage, but it took them 5 years to implement this at their place of work. It can take a long time if you do it right. It's a big job. So many companies have done it, though. There's some great case studies out there. It can be time consuming. The CDC has some great resources, and we have tapped into those and other resources at WellSteps to create a smoke-free program. It just mainly helps companies communicate and develop policy around this issue. So there are some great resources out there to help create smoke-free policy. I'm happy to share those with you if you send me an email, troy@wellsteps.com. I'm happy to share that information with you. So all the senior leader has to do, broker, is say, let's have a wellness committee. Broker, I've provided a resource for you, so you can say, here are the people that should be on the committee. Senior leader, we should invite these people. Okay, Boom, let's send an email. They're invited. Now what should the committee do, broker? They should do these things. Here are 3 potential tasks that they could do. Let's get to work. And we're in the process of making the culture healthy. That's awesome. Super, super easy. Communicate. So I happen to think that creating a communication plan should be one of the first committee functions. Now, what is a communication plan? I'll start by saying we have found that deciding how to communicate is easy because everyone has, email. There are other ways. Maybe there's a video board at the entrance. Maybe there's, I don't know, school districts, they have PA announcement. There's hundreds and hundreds of different paycheck stuffers, lots of different ways how to communicate. That's not the problem. All work sites have formal and informal communication channels. Informal channels are things like the water cooler, right? Or the break room. But the most important part of a communication plan is what to communicate and when to do it. Those should be the key ingredients on a communication plan. So let me share a few examples of how we try to make it easy for leaders to communicate throughout the year. So every November, WellSteps awards a wellness coordinator of the year, right? So the award recipient or recipients are those who most closely measure up to these program success standards. We've identified by years and years and years of experience and by talking to those of our colleagues who are also in the industry, We explain these standards to our coordinators and committees at the very beginning of our partnership together. Now, part of the award process, and this is where we get back to the communication plan, it is a communication plan. So the how is an email. What, we share the good news. Congratulations, you were selected as the coordinator of the year. To be considered, here are the things you had to do. You did a great job. And then and we do that immediately as soon as we made a decision. And then we say in the email, we would like permission to notify your senior leaders. Who are they? Who would you like us to notify? And it's funny, our wellness coordinators are very modest. They email us back and they say, well, the senior leaders, they don't really need to know. And I'm the one who sends these emails. I always email back and I said, yes, they do need to know. They do need to know for these following reasons. Your program is important. You're doing some great things. We want these people to know that you're being recognized for your achievements. Who are they? And that's how it goes almost all the time. And I get back the names and emails of senior leaders. And then I have another letter that I send them. It's very brief. And it says, your employee, in the subject line, your employee, and then I insert the name, has been recognized as a wellness coordinator of the year. And I go on to explain, here are the success standards that they had to complete. Well, part of the communication plan. You can insert your own examples here, right? But we recently notified senior leaders, usually a day or two after we contact the coordinators. We tried to make it really easy for the senior leader to lend support. So one coordinator told us how incredibly pleased she was that a senior leader, this is an unsolicited email, by the way, she said, here's what happened. I was walking through a hallway and a senior leader happened to be walking the opposite way. Senior leader stopped her in the hall, called her by name, and expressed gratitude for her good work and congratulated her and the committee. She was just tickled pink. Now, the leader publicly lent support. The leader probably would not have done that had we not communicated with the leader. We made it easy for the leader. Also, I will say in another situation, while Googling something totally unrelated, my business partner, Steve, found a press release detailing the achievements of another coordinator less than a week after we communicated with her leadership, in less than a week. So it went right from the leader to PR, and bam, there was a press release, and it was on the web like that fast. So that press release, I know, was a direct result of our email to leadership. We made it easy for the leadership to support wellness. So hopefully this is starting to make sense here a little bit. Communicate. Here's another example that is pretty simple. So effective in January, and anybody could do this, we will be distributing a leader box, a leader kit to leaders of organizations with whom we work. We're trying to make it really easy for them to kind of get the vision and to support wellness. So the box includes a book and some printed copy of the leader support infographic. on which this webinar is based. And most importantly, it includes some really classy postcards that look like this. And there's room for a personal note. And what we do is we invite them to recognize employees who have done some outstanding things. Maybe an employee who completed a marathon. Senior leader, here's a note card. It's printed already for you with really nice raised lettering. Congratulations, you're helping us so much, and here's a little note. Boom, bam, it's gone. Now, I think this would go up on the inside the work area of an employee. They'd be so proud of that note from the senior leader, they would post it up. That would be awesome. My personal wellness wall of fame. Here's my picture running the marathon, and here's my note from the senior leader. We also say, hey, why don't you recognize teams? You can recognize departments or teams for high participation in wellness activities. Send a note to the department head or the leader of a work group and say, share this. Please share this with your entire work group. You guys are doing great over there. We really appreciate it. It's easy for the senior leader. And we tell them, here's an idea, something that you could do. This is the best example of a manager that I know, so sorry for using this. Hopefully you all recognize this guy. You can recognize managers who meet wellness goals. Now, note there's an underlying thing here. It will be a little more complicated to say, hey, managers, we would like you to set wellness goals, but every single manager has performance goals. Why not include a wellness goal? This is going to be a committed leader who asked for that, but for those leaders that have managers with wellness goals, why not recognize them if they've met the wellness goals? And I don't know if this particular manager has met any wellness goals, but I thought we would have a little fun in the webinar today. Strategy number 4, create a workplace culture of health. So I'm talking to the CEO. We're going to make it easy for you to support wellness. Here are some strategies that will help you create a worksite culture of health. Now, that just means that the work environment support good health practices. So notice here, idea 1, leader can move their parking space to the far side of the lot and let everybody know about it. So you see that leader right in the middle of the parking lot there, that's a leader walking to their car, which is at the back of the lot. Maybe there's an article in a newsletter, or there's a notice somewhere. The leader has decided to park his or her car at the far side of the lot and walk as an example. Maybe there will be a race for people to find spaces at the back of the lot. I doubt it, but the leader would be a good example, and some people would undoubtedly walk a little bit more. I know of two CEOs in South Bend, Indiana, that they took this to an extreme. What they did for a period of time is they traded parking lots. They were about the same size, and they said, okay, your employees park in our lot, and our employees will park in your lot. And the two businesses were about a block or two away. So everyone, I think it was about a month, including the CEOs, parked in the other company's lot, and they all walked to work together. So that really wasn't that hard. It was a couple of CEOs talking in a golf game or over lunch or something, and boom, their employees got a whole bunch more physical activity just by parking and walking. That's idea number 1. Idea number 2, and this is one that's being done with increasing frequency, arrange for fresh fruits or vegetables to be delivered on a periodic basis. So as a broker, consultant, a wellness coordinator, you can say, hey, let's create a workplace culture of health. Here are some ideas. Why don't we have some fruit delivered and we say it's from you? We say it's from the senior leader. The senior leader wants you to eat more fruits and vegetables. Here's what I know about employee behavior. If you put free food out on any table, it doesn't matter whether it's healthy or not, it's going to get eaten. Those avocados, which you see in this picture, they might not get eaten, but somebody's going to put them in a purse or backpack and it's going to disappear, right? So one way or the other, people are getting healthy stuff. All you have to do, broker, committee member, coordinator, is find a vendor who does this in your area, get estimates, and make arrangements with the permission of the leader. Is this okay, leader? We would like to take care of this. Have the delivery come from leader. Actually pulled this image from off the web, company called Grow Alabama. So if you're in the Southeast, this company already does this. For 45 bucks, they'll send you a 25-pound box of fruit. That's about what you see there. You can put it out, maybe do it once a month. It's a really, really inexpensive way to say health is important to us around here. Create a worksite culture of health. Number 3, this is idea number 3. So you can allow flexible break time so workers can be active. And this may seem like it would be really complicated, be really, really hard. Oh my gosh, this is going to involve meetings. And maybe it gets a little more difficult the larger an organization gets. But my business partner, Steve, and I, we are senior leaders. All you have to do is look at my picture and see the color of my hair, and you realize I'm senior something, right? So one day we said, we're doing flexible work hours. Bam, done. That's all it took. We're doing flexible work hours. Eventually, this was written into employee policy as we grew and matured as an organization. It really wasn't that hard. We do have set times for meetings that we on certain days and stuff like that. Every organization has to have those. There's one day a week when you can't use any flex time, Wednesday or Friday or something like that. So our team knows that they can't exercise during our staff meeting, for example, but any other time is just fine. Personally, what I've noticed in my organization with my employees who I love, I believe that there's more good with this policy than just the benefits of exercise. I think it says a lot about trust and autonomy, which we know as researchers is very, very highly valued by workers. So this is one thing that can be done. Boom, easy. All right, so strategy number 5, participate. Senior leader, here are ways you can participate and lead at the same time, and let us make this as easy for you as possible. Idea 1, I know a few senior leaders who do this. Lunchtime CEO walks. We're going to go for a walk at lunchtime. We can talk about business or not, and a few other people can join us. Come, we're going to walk and talk. So we're going to meet. We're not slacking off, but we're going to walk while we're doing it. Some meetings would not be conducive to this, I understand, but many, many are and could be done while walking. This is one way a senior leader could participate. Here's another way. So leaders can participate with employees in any wellness activity. You think about it, it could be a softball league, a bowling league. It could be walks. It could be runs. Any activity that employees can do, senior leaders can do. This is the easiest way for a leader to show support by participating, really, because all they have to do is show up. That's it. For example, a leader could participate in a community walk or fun run. Better yet, they could sign a check and decide that their organization is going to support the walk or fun run. So we can raise money for a pet project. I'm going to come back to that here in a second. This will show you my age, but photographic proof of leader participation in a wellness program is the only legitimate function of a selfie, in my opinion. That's a joke. Somebody owes me money because I just said selfie in a webinar. No, I'm just kidding. But if we take a picture of the senior leader doing something, having fun doing something, oh my gosh, then the gift just keeps on giving, and all of a sudden we have all kinds of opportunity to share that image by social media. We can send it around in the company email and newsletter, or what have you. And we have the leader doing something simple. We've made it easy for the leader. They just show up, and we're working to it has an impact on the culture of health. So I'm going to go back to the case study I posed right at the beginning of the webinar. And the really good question. We have a department head over the police department who is stubborn, who's dug in, who will not participate. How in the world do we get this senior, and it's having an impact, a negative impact on participation across other departments? How do we get this police chief on board? Well, I will tell you that every police chief has a soft spot in his or her heart. There is an organization that they support. There is something that they like to, maybe they have a chili cook-off, or they do something to raise money for to benefit. Because police officers are just good that way. So as a broker, if you could find out what that was, you could suggest an already existing fund run or walk or some other fundraiser we could encourage everybody at an organization to engage in, and we could all raise money together. We could work with the department head rather than trying to work at him or her, and work together to help support the cause. So that's just an example of something that could be done. So again, an organization could co-sponsor an event like that. That would be awesome. So then the last thing the last strategy, a way we can make it easy for senior leaders to support wellness, is to, and I think the easiest way is to integrate wellness with benefits, is to provide additional time off for employees. Again, this is a pen stroke. The leader says, we're doing this. If you engage in a wellness program and you do it all year, we're going to give you we're going to give you paid time off. I don't know. You can decide as an organization how much that is. Senior leaders can make this happen really
Troy, this
easily.
is Steve.
Yeah.
Troy, let me
Yes.
interrupt you quickly. You've got an update on your screen that is flashing on every slide. Some kind of summary doc updated. Something going on your screen. It's on to actually everybody seeing all these files update.
And there's really nothing I can do about that. I've been noticing it too, and I've been trying to figure out how I could get it to go away. What's going on is we use Dropbox, and we've got a video guy who's done a fantastic job filming all these really great videos, and he has picked this particular time out of all the other times of the week to share all kinds of files in Dropbox, and I'm just being notified by Dropbox that I've got all these files being added. So I apologize for that pop-up. But you can see all of these files that are being updated in real time for your enjoyment pleasure. So there you go. All right. So again, we were talking about additional time off. So there might be pushback from the people in payroll who have to track this, but the senior leader can make this happen really easily. But here's the deal, brokers and consultants. Here's how you can make things easy for the leader to support wellness by integrating wellness with benefits. And because we have a dark screen, you'll be able to see this even better, right? So the idea is to use plan design or premium differential to provide an incentive for employees to engage. Dr. Aldana spoke about this in our October webinar, which is posted in our webinar archives just back in October. This is the Wellness Budget Calculator. It's a free tool designed to help organizations find money to fund an effective employee wellness program. But it serves to illustrate this point very, very nicely. So brokers and consultants, the idea on which this calculator is based is that plan design changes for everyone, all employees, would result in savings, and that savings could then be used to fund wellness activities. In this particular case, the savings comes from copays and deductibles. You see both of those illustrated in the calculator input. However, the same strategy can be used such that those who participate get access to a health plan with lower copays and deductibles, and those who do not have higher copays and deductibles. This is one way that wellness can be integrated into plan design, into the incentive. We can use benefits to create that incentive. If you really want to know what drives these calculations, we've explained it before in other webinars, and it's not the point of this webinar, but I'm happy to talk about how we got these calculations and how the cost of wellness was determined. If you just want to email me, I'm more than happy to share that with you. But there's plan design savings. That's one way. The other way is with the premium differential, right? The same basic idea holds true. Employees would get a health plan A and corresponding lower premiums if they decided to engage in the wellness program. If not, they would get a health plan, but they would just have higher premiums, and it's called the premium differential. In case you're wondering, premium discount ranges from about $25 to $85 a month, with a median around 50 or so. If you're a wellness coordinator and you really want to know what it is, your broker can probably help you know what that number might be for your region. There's a lot of data out there on that. Wellness participation program ranges between 30 and 60% initially, but with the right incentives, and here's the point, it can eventually reach close to 100%. So I will say it's fair to point out that with either approach, whether you use plan design changes or premium differentials to incent wellness participation, leader, we're making it easy for you. All you have to do is say, yeah, that's a great idea. With either approach, that meeting the requirements has to be tracked and verified. We've discussed solutions to this problem in past webinars. I'm not going to go over that, but again, if you've got more questions about that, feel free to contact me. I'm happy to help. And we're updating the documents. This is great. All right. So in summary, number one, tell employees why wellness is important. Number two, create an employee wellness committee. Number three, communicate the wellness program. Number four, help create a worksite culture of health. Number five, participate. Number six, integrate wellness incentives into benefits. And that's it. My sincerest hope as we wait for questions is that I've shared some principles to help you make it easy for the leader in your particular organization to support wellness efforts. That's the goal, making it easy. So, and I hope also that we've got many great suggestions for the broker who said, how do we get this police officer involved? The example that I shared was the one that came to mind right away. So with that, I'll toss back to Steve. Steve, do we have any questions?
We do, Troy, but briefly, talk about the infographic, where they can find it and how it was developed. You alluded to it and you showed it, but people want to know kind of where it's at and how they might be able to use it.
Okay, let me just you go to wellsteps.com and you click on tools, the tools link. And you'll see here worksite wellness infographics. There are 4 or 5 of them there. To click to see the infographics, that's how you access those.
And how would we use it? Because information is valuable, but how does WellSteps use it, or how could we use it? Other groups use it to help, to get it to leaders. How is it being used?
Well, one of the things that we do with the info, we create the infographics, and we don't do it just for our sheer benefit and pleasure. We like to share those. We share those in our groups, Wellness is a Business Strategy. We share those with all of you. Many of you have seen our infographics because we email them to you. And if you were a broker consultant, it's really easy to get a lot of information really quickly with an infographic. This is something that you can also share with your leader. One of the things that we've done is we've printed the leadership support infographic, and that's going to go around in that leader kit that I explained to you earlier. We're going to put a printed copy of that leadership infographic in there with the note cards and the book and some other things. So those are some examples of how we've used it.
Okay, Selena has a question regarding the committee's role in changing the work environment with the vending machines. It says, how do vendor contracts with the vendors play a role? Usually the committee doesn't have a role in deciding who has those contracts, but a lot of the larger employers have contracts for food vending. How can a committee work around that or through that?
That's a really complicated question. So that's the reason the broker, I think if healthy vending is one of the goals, one of the people on the committee should be somebody from that department. That's either that, or we're working against the purchasing, payables department, whoever it is that handles those contracts. We get somebody like that on the wellness committee, it makes it just a little bit easier. It may be that contracts are in place that prohibit changeover and this kind of thing, and we have to wait until the contract expires, usually 1, 2, or 3 years, before we make a bid out to another vendor who will agree with us on our terms to do some price differentials on some foods or beverages in the machines, or provide healthy machines only. That will be a different contract. So some patience may be required.
Locke, who is at Intermountain Healthcare, states that they did a couple of things. They created guidelines, healthy meeting guidelines. So anybody who's having meetings and having whatever staff or get-togethers has some guidelines on healthy foods and other recommendations. And then they also changed their mission statement helping people live their healthiest lives possible as a complete mission statement for the entire organization. And I'm assuming that's internal for internal employees, and then of course being a healthcare provider for the people they serve too.
Thank you for that, Locke. Hi, how are you doing? I hope you're doing great. I hope your kids are doing great. Locke's one of my good friends. I know that what Locke is talking about has been done by many other organizations as well. I know I can name a few that have a healthy catering policy. That's awesome. It's an easy thing to do.
Uh, Goff, or Jeff is the name, and he says he's at a hospital. How can you get doctors and nurses to have flexible work time?
Um, well, I think maybe there are some organizations where flexible work time is more conducive. I'm not really sure how I would do it in that particular case. I'm going to be honest with you, Jeff. I don't really know how. Maybe I say it's my time to go out and walk, and then somebody comes in the emergency room. So what am I going to say as an ER doctor? I'm sorry, this is my flex day to go walk. No, that doctor's going to stay there. It may be that you have to go higher up with scheduling, and you schedule in days. Firefighters do this all the time. They understand it. You're on for 2 days, 2 whole days, and then you're off for a day, or on for two and off for three, or however that works. That's a way of addressing that issue, and maybe that emergency care has to do something similar.
I have some experience with hospitals, Troy, and I know that most of the staff, most of them, are busy walking, standing, moving. There's an awful lot of walking and moving all during their shifts. They're very rarely sitting down for long periods of time. So maybe they don't need a flexible schedule to go out and be active at work, but they have the worst diets on the planet. So maybe the focus shouldn't be on flexible time for exercise. The focus should be on creating food environments and helping with food selections that are much, much healthier and in healthier proportions. Not so much the physical activity, because after a 12-hour shift, your healthcare providers are beat. And they've put in a lot of miles. But their diets are big issues for them. That said, Trey, here's another question I wanted to ask you. Amanda, let's see, Amanda had a question. I've got to find another one here. It just slipped past my screen here. The other question had to do with a state agency, which is obviously paid by taxpayers. What are ways to incorporate wellness activities that would be acceptable to taxpayers? You probably don't want state employees wandering around the building and walking outside as if they're going for a pleasure walk on taxpayer dollars. What's a ginger, easy way for municipalities to do flexible meetings so that the public doesn't perceive these as being a waste of their taxpayer dollars?
Well, I will leave that answer that the real answer to that question to the politicians to figure out. But I think your answer earlier, Steve, about influencing what we eat as public employees is a great place to start, because I don't know a taxpayer alive who knows what the people in the DMV eat. I mean, so we can help influence the vending and the foods that they eat, try to help them be healthy that way. But you're right. Who knows whether taxpayers are going to have a major beef with workers walking around at lunch? Maybe we extend lunchtime a little bit. Maybe we start lunch a little earlier on the inside. We let them eat lunch, and then we give them time from 12 to 1 when workers should be outside walking to go and walk. So a lot of ways to handle that.
Carol has a great question. Carol wants to know, how do you manage the loss of a wellness champion or a crucial wellness committee member? Usually when they go, this weakens or even makes the program go away.
So what happens when you have an optimistic, supportive senior leader, and all of a sudden that senior leader is replaced by incoming administration? Is that the gist of the question?
Or even a really notable wellness champion within the organization, not necessarily a leader, but someone who's really got some valuable input and contribution to the program, and then they leave.
Well, I can say that that's going to happen in the life cycle of every single organization. I mean, any wellness program out there that exists is it probably there was a senior leader that supported it enough, at least to write a check to get it going. Eventually, that champion is going to leave. People retire, people move on, people take other jobs, and so a search for a new champion has to happen. If a good committee, a good leadership team is always going to have somebody available who's going to step up and be a champion. And if it happens that there is complete change in leadership and um, not one person on the new leadership team cares the least about wellness, we'll all pray for you. But usually there's one person on a leadership team who has a vested interest in wellness. It's been my experience, and I've been in I've seen lots of organizations. There's always at least one.
We have lots of people making lots of comments and suggestions. Lisa's works for a municipality, and she says she's never had taxpayers complain about what perceived disservice municipal employers are doing by participating in their wellness program. She says it's never come up in her experience. She also says there's a comment here from Aaron. Aaron says that what do you do with a leader who says, yeah, sure, let's do a wellness program, and designates a staff or committee, but does not engage otherwise, despite requests to do so. So there's not much written communication, no oral communication, no attendance. It's essentially, yeah, let's do wellness, but don't expect me to show up. I mean, can you think of anything else besides what you've already presented today?
Well, I think Aaron, the frustration that you just expressed is probably it's the reason why I tried to shift the thinking from let's provide the tools to convince leaders to get on board to making it easy. So I think I counted there were about 15 ideas that have come from a variety of places to make it as easy as possible for the leader to do something, even if it's just say, is it okay if we send this email from your account? So if the leader is checked out, won't put on walking shoes, won't show up, then this is what I said earlier. The principles have to be applied in your own particular situation. You've got to look for the thing that is the simplest for the leader to do, that the leader will do to show support, and then celebrate that and build on that. And then this just to follow up, well, the same thing I said earlier about helping the police chief to come on board. Every senior leader, well, a lot of senior leaders will have pet projects or pet things that they support, maybe in their personal life. We as brokers or wellness coordinators, if we can find out what those things are, and we do a fun run or fun walk, or we encourage our employees to participate in an existing event or something like that that raises money for that cause, then we'll get the leader involved.
Two last final comments, Troy, and then I'll go ahead and wrap up. But thanks for your help here. Michelle has an idea that they use at her company. They do healthy themed potlucks to create potluck meals that are focused on different health themes and encourages people to be creative and maybe try a different recipe. And lastly, Jennifer is talking about how do you get people to use the stairs in her 3-story building. What do you do about signage? One of the best ones I've ever seen was an employer who posted the elementary school's kids' pictures in the stairwell so that the people could see kids' pictures, or even employees had their kids' pictures posted in the stairwells, posting art, changing the art, adding some clever signage. If you'll just Google up stairwell signage and stairwell with wellness, you'll see some good ideas. With that, Troy, I just wanted to see our last slide here on our webinar in January. What we're trying to do is trying to figure out where our worksite wellness programs are going to be in 2020. Where are we going to be in 5, 10 years from now? What's this going to look like? So Troy and I spent a lot of time brainstorming about who we know that knows a lot about wellness and wellness going. So we have Paul Terry, who's the president of research at Staywell. He's been in our field forever. Trey McAllister is one of your former partners, Troy, at UT Austin. She's a consultant with Mercer. Seth Zerksner, who's been here forever in our industry with Optum Prevention Solutions. We have the new president of WellCoa, Ryan Picarella. And one of my favorite guys in the whole world, Tom Perry, who runs Integrated Benefit Institute, that does research into benefits, wellness programs. The five of them each have 7 to 8 minutes to tell us what we need to be doing now to get ready for wellness in 2020. What's it going to look like? What are we going to continue doing? What are we going to stop doing? So I give you all a hearty invitation to join us on January the 29th. Thank you all for participating today. Troy, nice work. Don't forget to download the slides or any of the assets that we have associated with this at the webinar's link. And if WellSteps can help any of you do wellness better, we're interested in seeing if we can't make it work and to improve employee health the best that we can. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.